Good morning, children. Today's chapter is Long Walk to Freedom and it is written by Nelson Mandela. In this chapter, an excerpt has been taken from the autobiography of Nelson Mandela. The name of the autobiography of Nelson Mandela is Long Walk to Freedom. Children, the way we have Mahatma Gandhi as the father of our nation, Nelson Mandela is the father of the nation of Africa. He is very much respected over there, and it is because of his struggle, his hard work, that Africa finally came out of apartheid and was able to give to its people equality, liberty, and peace. So, children, you need to know the meaning of apartheid. Apartheid was a political and social system in South Africa. It was a political system. That is something that you need to understand, that the government's policy was to discriminate between the whites and the non-whites. So during this period, the black Africans were badly treated, they were exploited, they were given no rights, no privileges. They were simply at the mercy of the white Africans. And this period continued from 1948 until the early 1990s. And it was Nelson Mandela who brought about the abolition of this malpractice of this political system in South Africa and started a new era of democracy and a reign of people, for the people, by the people, of the people. So in the beginning of the chapter, Nelson Mandela talks about the day when he sworn in as the first black president of South Africa. After a long struggle, his political party, African National Congress, won in the elections, and it won 252 of the 400 seats in the first democratic elections of South Africa in 1994. So after a long and harsh struggle, 10th May emerged, and Nelson Mandela calls it as a day of hope, as a day of brightness and clarity. And he further says that days before this date, many notable personalities started congratulating him for his victory, and for the first time in the country's history, so many international leaders came together for his inauguration ceremony. The inauguration ceremony took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheatre, which was formed by the Union Buildings in Pretoria. For a long time, this had been the seat of white supremacy. This had been the center of white domination. But on that particular day, it was altogether a different sight, because people of all hues and colors were present there. People who were the natives and people from across the globe, all were present there. And the writer compares it with rainbow. Like in a rainbow, the 7 colors emerged together. In the same manner, in the inaugural ceremony of Nelson Mandela, all kind of people participated. Natives, foreigners, whites, colored people, and their presence meant one thing, and that was their faith, their hope, that from now onwards South Africa would march on the path of democracy, would march on the path of equality and liberty. On that great day, Nelson Mandela was accompanied by his daughter Zinani, and first the oath was taken by Mr. De Klerk as the second deputy president. After him, Thabo Mbeki, sworn in as first deputy president, and then came the turn of Nelson Mandela, and he took the oath that he would always follow the constitution and he would devote his complete life for the well-being of the republic and its people. In his speech, he said that by our presence in this inaugural ceremony, we all bestow our faith in the newborn liberty of South Africa. There had been a time of extraordinary human disaster in South Africa. By that, Nelson Mandela meant the period of apartheid, when the black Africans were exploited, were poorly treated by the white ones. So that period of apartheid is the extraordinary human disaster, and Nelson Mandela further says that we all experienced that bad time, and out of that bad experience now would born a society of which all humanity would be proud of. And then he further says that we were outlaws until yesterday. Why were the South Africans outlaws? Because of the policy of apartheid followed in South Africa, all other countries had banned South Africa, had severed diplomatic relations with South Africa. So that's why Nelson Mandela calls themselves to be outlaws. So he says we were earlier outlaws, but today we have received such a rare privilege that we are the host of such a great ceremony where dignitaries, where leaders from all across the world have shown their presence. So he was thankful to all the people, all the guests who had come there, and by their presence they all have bestowed their faith in justice, peace and human dignity. He further said that they had achieved political freedom, and that they pledge to liberate all the people of South Africa from the bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, and discrimination on all bases like gender and race. And he reiterated that never, never and never again will South Africa undergo the experience of apartheid again, where one race is oppressed by another. And he further said that South Africa would now progress by leaps and bounds and let freedom reign supreme over here, and let God bless Africa. Just after the newly elected president's address to the audience, an impressive display of fighter jets and helicopters raised everyone's heads up in the sky. It symbolized perfection as well as military's respect and obedience towards the free country and towards Mandela. The high commanders who have won medals for their bravery also saluted and promised their loyalty to Mandela. Mandela mentions that he was well aware that these commanders who were now saluting him would have arrested him under the previous rule, as during the oppressive white supremacy he was considered to be a criminal. The air show finally ended by making of the South African flag in the sky from smoke beneath the jets. Chevron of Impala jets means arrangement of jets in V shape, and they left a smoke trail of the black, red, green, blue and gold color of the new South African flag. During the time of apartheid being followed in South Africa, the whites had a separate national anthem, the blacks had a separate national anthem. And in the sworn-in ceremony of Mandela, there was an amalgam of both the anthems. The anthem of the blacks was sung by the whites, and the anthem of the whites was sung by the blacks. And Mandela further says that till that date both the groups had hated the anthems of the other race, but from that day onwards they would try to learn to by heart the anthems of each other's race. On the day of his inauguration, Mandela became nostalgic and remembered his past. He tells us that in the first decade of the 20th century, before his birth and a few years after the Anglo-Boer War, the white-skinned people of South Africa started racial domination against the black people of their own land. They started the period of apartheid, and this was the harshest, most inhumane societies the world had ever known. But Mandela was also happy that in the last decade of the same century, and by that time he had reached to his 8th decade as a man, that the apartheid system was overturned, and it was overturned forever, and it was replaced by a democratic setup that gave respect to the rights and freedoms of all peoples regardless of the color of their skin. On that day, Mandela also remembered the great sacrifices made by the martyrs of the country, and he says that without their sacrifices that day would never have come, and the kind of suffering they had undergone, the kind of courage they had shown could never be counted or repaid. Mandela had felt on several days, and he felt on that day also, that he was the sum total of all those African patriots who had gone before him. He felt that long and noble line of patriots had ended, and now began another line of patriots who would serve the country, and that line began again with Mandela. So he felt that the martyrs would live through Mandela, and he was pained that he was not able to thank them, and that they were not able to see what their sacrifices had wrought. According to Nelson Mandela, the apartheid system created a deep wound in the hearts of the African people, and it would take a long time for the people to recover from this wound. During this time, the black Africans were subjected to oppression and brutality. So all in all, this period had its negative impacts, but it also had some good effect, like the emergence of men of such extraordinary courage, wisdom and generosity, like Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, Luthulus, Yusuf Dadus, Bram Fischer, Robert Sobukwe. Mandela felt that perhaps such harsh operation was required to create such great men of character. South Africa is rich in minerals and gems that lie beneath its soil, but Mandela had always known that the greatest wealth of the country was its people, finer and truer than the purest diamonds. Mandela had learned the true meaning of courage from his comrades who participated in the long struggle to freedom. So, during the struggle, Mandela had seen men and women risking their lives for an idea, the idea of freedom. Mandela had seen men standing up to attacks and torture without breaking, and showing a strength and resilience that one cannot even imagine of. So Mandela Mandela learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. So, the meaning of courage, according to Mandela, is that everybody is scared. So, it's not the absence of fear, but overcoming that fear is real courage. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. Mandela was a philanthropist. He had immense love for humanity. Though he had been subjected to oppression, to torture, to beatings by the whites, but he had no hatred for the white people in his heart. So he says that these white people who have learned to hate us, they were not born with the feeling of hatred for us. They had learned this hatred in their process of growing up. So if they can learn to hate, then they can also be taught to love, because love is a feeling that comes more naturally to us, more easily to us than hatred. So here he cites an example also that during his stay in the prison, when they were subjected to violence, to beatings, there he would see a glimpse of humanity in one of the guards, perhaps for a short period of time, but that was enough to reconfirm to Mandela that his path was right and he should move on. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. This last line shows his firm belief in the goodness of humanity. Now let's see what are the twin obligations according to Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela believed that every man has twin obligations. Twin obligations means two duties, two responsibilities. One towards his family, his parents, his wife and children, and another towards his people, his community, his country. In a country where there is a just and fair government, there an individual doesn't face any difficulty in fulfilling these two obligations. But in a country like South Africa, where the apartheid system was followed, it was not possible for an individual belonging to the black community to fulfill both these obligations. So in South Africa, the situation was that if you want to fulfill your obligation towards your family, then you have to forget about fulfilling the other obligation towards your people, your country. Because there, when a person tried to fulfill his duty towards his people, he was isolated from his family, he was put behind the bars, he was totally taken away from the family and was forced to live a life apart. He had to live a life of twilight existence, of secrecy and rebellion. So what does this mean? Twilight existence of secrecy and rebellion. Twilight means the time when the day and the night meets. It's somewhere in the evening. And here it stands for darkness. So a person who chose to fulfill his obligations towards his people had to live a dark life where he had to secretively live apart from his family. He could not meet his family, otherwise he would be arrested. So Mandela says that in the beginning I did not choose to place my people above my family. I wanted to serve both. But when I started serving my people, I found that I was not able to fulfill my obligations as a son, as a brother, as a father, and as a husband. Mandela writes that when he was a child, he did not know about the apartheid system. He did not understand or felt that he was not born in a free country, because he was enjoying various kinds of freedoms, like freedom to run in the fields near his mother's hut, freedom to swim in river, freedom to cook food under the stars, and freedom to ride on bulls. So he never felt as a child that he was not free, and he never had this hunger for freedom. But when he grew up as a young man, he realized that his freedom had already been taken from him, and his boyhood freedom was all illusion. It was a myth, it was not a reality. So then he started yearning for freedom. So at first he just wanted freedom for himself. When he moved to Johannesburg, there also he started yearning for the basic and honorable freedoms, like achieving his potential, earning his keep, marrying and having a family. So he felt that these are the basic freedoms that should not be refused to an individual in a lawful life. So initially, Mandela was distressed by the fact that he was denied freedom of several kinds. But slowly and gradually, he started to understand that he was not alone there. All his brothers and sisters, they were also not free. So when he understood this, when he realized this, that the people of South Africa, the non-whites were not free, and they were in distress, and they were oppressed, and they were tortured, that was the time when he joined the African National Congress. So he joined African National Congress not for achieving freedom for himself, but for all of his people. So it became an obsession with him to provide freedom to his people, that they could live their lives with dignity and self-respect. And it was this desire that transformed him completely, that changed him completely. Earlier he was a frightened young man, but later on he became a bold one. Earlier he was a law-abiding attorney. He was occupying a good post, but later on he became a criminal. Earlier he was a family-loving husband, but later on he became a man without a home. He was forced to live a life of a monk. So he understood that he could not enjoy the limited freedoms that were given exclusively to him because of his post, when all his people were suffering. So for him, freedom was indivisible. If his people were in chains, that meant that he was also in chains. So he started working for the freedom of all the black people of South Africa. Nelson Mandela was a great human being, though he was tortured brutally by the whites of his country, but still he did not nurture any hatred for those people. He believed that the oppressor was also a prisoner of hatred. He was behind the bars of prejudice and narrow-mindedness. So, as it was important to bring freedom for the people who were oppressed, it was equally important to free these oppressors of their hatred, of their prejudice, and of their narrow-mindedness. So, in the end, he says that he wanted to establish a government for the people of South Africa where there was no room for hatred of any kind. The whites, the non-whites, the colorids all lived in peace together with love. With that, the chapter gets over, children. I hope you are able to understand the chapter.